You got a congressional emergency. I operate on their calendar, you know. Lester, how you doing? Good to see you.
How are you? Good to see you again. Yes, indeed. Well,
Come on in.
hey, morning. How you doing, Ron? Good to see you. And good to see you. How are you?
I got a question I need to ask you after this.
Preparation of the pool, there are two ways to the pool.
Fine. Please sit. Really? Well, I'm glad to see you.
We spent Friday night in Los Angeles with the great journey there.
You were with them Friday night, but they came here Saturday night.
They came here Saturday night.
And they left and went back
They
on
left
Sunday.
very early. We had dinner with them and Scully. It was great. And they came very early on Saturday night.
Mr. President, do you trust the Serbs to keep their word? The Bosnian Serbs. Do you trust the Serbs at this point?
Well, I want to reiterate what we've already said. I want to evaluate them by their actions. We'll see what they do. I hope the Serbian Assembly will support the decision to sign on the Vancova, and we'll just see. We'll just have to measure it as we go along.
Are you ready to send ground troops then, Mr. President, to implement ground troops to help enforce the peace if it does hold? Would there be American participation in a peacekeeping mission?
Well, we said several weeks ago that the United States would be prepared to support a United Nations effort, heavily engaged in by the Europeans, to help to enforce a peace if a peace was made. We had no interest in, we were not interested in sending our soldiers in there into combat, into a fighting situation, but that we thought there would have to be a peacekeeping force there, and that we would be prepared to participate.
So if this peace holds, then, if Vancova holds, you've got 10 provinces, wouldn't that be a very difficult and dangerous mission for American and the
Well,
United Nations forces?
it depends entirely on what happens between now and then. And before I agree to put one American soldier there, we're going to watch events, and I will obviously speak not only to you but directly to the American people.
How many
about
did
it.
you contemplate
Thank you.
sending in?
But I think it's very important now to point out, let me just restate what's at stake here. There has been enormous loss of life under especially brutal conditions there. And it is a very politically unstable part of the world which has significant potential for a wider war. So the United States has tried to work with our ally, Secretary Christopher, as you know, is on his mission now, in an attempt to get the parties together so that we can present a united front and so that we can keep the pressure up to end the killing, but also to stop the prospect of a much wider war which could cause much more trouble, much more instability. But there has been, at this point, no decision made on any of that, and I will not make any such decision without further consultation with the Congress and discussing it directly with the American people.
Why don't the allies, President, why don't the allies,
Thank you. So you're getting cooperation from the allies?
So far, the meetings are going great.
Thank you.
you talk to President?
Thank you.
I have. I talked to him twice yesterday.
Well,
Thank you.
hey,
Thank
Talked to
you.
him twice.
you mean they have signed
Thank
on
you.
with your policy?
I talked to Christopher, the Prime Minister Major, to President Mitterrand, to the Prime Minister Designate of Italy, to President Yeltsin, to Chancellor Kohl. I've talked to a lot of people.
And they all agree
Prime
with you.
Minister Mulroney.
They all agree?
We have agreed that we're going to keep the pressure up and have a united front and move forward. We're developing our policy now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We ask you about Hong Kong?
Welcome. I admire very much what he's trying to do there, sticking up for democracy. It's a good thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One story at a time.
Thank you.
Advances the
questions the next time.
I think we need
We need that what?
that woman who deals with the foreign.
I don't think she can say that word in English. It's the only language she can't say it in.
Okay.
You know, there's a woman who's worked here at the White House forever. You've seen her all. And her main job in life is to herd the foreign press out of the Oval Office. See if she shows up. And she knows how to say it's time to go or leave or move or whatever.
In every language.
Like 30 different languages. So, this is your press, I think, huh?
Absolutely. So no question about politics. There are a lot of them trying to do this, actually.
Great. Hello.
Mr. President, can we ask you a question about
Sure.
what, we were just trying to find out the governor will be here to ask you not to renew MFN with conditions. You have said that you will have some conditions. Can you have any kind of compromise here? And the other question was, if you do support the government's proposals and democracy, you can have upset the Chinese.
Well, let me answer the first question first. We obviously hope that we can maintain the maximum good relationships with the Chinese. I have no interest in trying to isolate them. I'm encouraged by the successes of their economic reforms. And that's got to be in the interest of the whole world if it is accompanied with responsible behavior, respect for human rights, and movement toward a more democratic society. There have been some encouraging moves in China on a number of fronts in the last few weeks. I still think that more needs to be done, and I'm hopeful that it will be. But we're not in a position to say finally what the condition of our relations will be the next month when the time runs out, because it's in an evolving situation. Secondly, I just have to say that I think that the democracy initiative in Hong Kong is a good thing. And I'm encouraged that the parties have agreed to talk about it. And you know, it's one of the world's most vibrant, thriving, important cities. It is an incredible center of commerce and a haven of opportunity for millions of people who literally had, many of whom had not a thing but the clothes on their back when they came there. And I think the idea of trying to keep it an open and free society after 1997 is in the best interest of the Chinese. I think it's clearly in the best interest of the Chinese. So I think this initiative is well-founded, and I support it. I hope it doesn't offend anybody, but how can the United States be against democracy? That's our job, to get out there and promote it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a feeling, you know, I've been to Hong Kong a lot of times.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me begin by extending a warm welcome to all of you, especially those who have traveled very great distances, as many of you have, to help celebrate Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. I'm pleased to be joined on the stage by Senator Dan Akaka, with whom I played golf last weekend. Less well than he did, I might add. And Representatives Bob Matsui, Norm Mineta, Robert Underwood, Patsy Mink, Eni Faleoma Vanina. Did I do a good job? Pretty good. And Jay Kim. And let us also honor the memory of the late Senator Spark Matsunaga, who left such a wonderful legacy as a true friend of the Asian Pacific community. My campaign and my administration have gained so much from the talents of Asian Pacific Americans, and I'd like to recognize just a few of them. Barbara Chow, my Special Assistant for Legislative Affairs, Neil Dillon at the Department of Transportation, Atul Gawande, who's been working on the Healthcare Task Force, Maria Haley on our personal staff, Goody Marshall with the Vice President's staff, Doris Matsui in Public Liaison, who did such a wonderful job with this event, Shirley Sagawa in Legislative Affairs, Deborah Shawn at the United States Trade Representative's Office, Melinda Yee at the Department of Commerce, and many others who are an essential part of our efforts every day. 15 years ago, Representative Frank Horton introduced the first resolution proclaiming Asian Pacific American Heritage Week, honoring the significant contributions of Asian Pacific Americans in all walks of life. In 1990, Congress designated and President Bush proclaimed the month of May as Asian Pacific Heritage Month. And last year, with the help of Representative Horton and 106 of his colleagues, the designation of May as Asian Pacific Heritage Month each year became the law of the land. The month of May was chosen because of its significance to Asian Pacific American history. In the first week of May in 1843, the first Japanese arrived in America. And on May the 10th, 1869, Golden Spike Day, the transcontinental railroad, built partly with Chinese labor, was completed. Today, 150 years after these historic events, nearly 8 million Asian Pacific Americans can trace their roots to Asia and the islands of the Pacific. It is astonishing to realize the breadth of diversity among Americans of Asian Pacific heritage. The Asian Pacific community stretches across thousands of miles and encompasses millions of diverse people. In our country, the Asian Pacific American community can trace its roots to at least 25 different nationalities, more than 75 different languages, and literally hundreds of different ethnic groups. Now that's diversity. And still, Asian Pacific Americans have something in common and something to emulate: a commitment to strong families, to community, and to instilling in each new generation a respect for educational opportunity and hard work. These values have been an essential part of success in achieving the American dream, as so many Asian Pacific Americans know. And while we realize all the rich opportunities America has given to all our people, we are aware also of how much Asian Pacific Americans have given back to this country. Immigrants from Asia and the Pacific helped build our country. Today, their descendants are making us even better. They are prominent among our scientists, artists, doctors, teachers, and other professionals who've enriched the lives of all of us in America. I want to talk for a moment about the importance of education. The Asian Pacific community has demonstrated that a commitment to education is truly the key to bettering our lives. Among Asian Pacific Americans 25 years old and over, 82% have had 4 years of high school or more. 39% have completed 4 years of college or more. For individuals, education is the key to economic parity and social mobility. But for America, it is the key to our strength and our competitiveness in the global economy. I want to thank you all again for coming here today to recognize all the achievements and the contributions that Asian Pacific Americans have made to this great nation. I hope that we can continue to come together as we have today, to rejoice in our diversity as we renew the bonds of community that bring all Americans together. I believe that if we embrace those things which we share, if we embrace our common values and our common goals, we strengthen ourselves, our community, and our democracy, and we make ourselves free to celebrate the richness of our diversity. Therefore, it is with great pride and admiration that I take this opportunity, my first one, to sign the proclamation proclaiming this Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. Thank you very much.
remain seated until the President departs, and you will be escorted to the state dining room.
Where we'll all visit.